Hey, we're back!
Turn the overlay off. And then turn it back on.
Hang on.
As if nothing happened.
Hello, it is good to see you again, friends of Al-Kharid.
So, the YouTube people are not going to see this.
Yeah. And welcome back to the Friends of Al-Kharid podcast, where we're really professional.
Ryan had his mic muted.
I had it on the wrong one.
Again. And the YouTube people will never know. It didn't happen.
But yeah, welcome back to the Friends of Al-Kharid podcast. We're back after a few weeks, as you probably heard Glenn exclaim, just not me. And this is the best place and only place to catch up on everything Chronicle related going on in the community. Joining me, as always, is going to be the recently unbanned Glenn. Welcome back, my friend.
Self-proclaimed bad boy of Chronicle.
You joined an elusive club of 3 people to get banned from the Chronicle community.
We a Venn diagram and place Glenn and General Suki into the same circle.
And Crazy Helm.
And
Keep you together forever, mate.
The dream team.
Yes, and as ever, we've got our fellow co-host, and we've actually found the Merchant's lost beard. It's Interjection.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Bansai Weekly will have something to say about that. I can just see it now. I can just see the quality journalism coming out. Yes, I am back, though. I was here last week, but you guys weren't. Mm-hmm. So that was a shame. And the week before that as well, actually. So where have you guys been? I think that's the first question. Well, actually, the first thing to do is to introduce Bundi over there. How you doing, Bundi?
You just wanted to skip me, am I right?
Papa
No,
Bundi.
just kidding. I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine.
Alright, nice. We've had him on before, had you back. We don't get to see the impressive beard this time, sadly. But thanks for joining us, Bundi. Glenn and Ryan, where the fuck have you been?
Magic. So a couple of weeks ago we missed the one because we were at Insomnia.
I think that's a perfectly good reason.
Yeah. We probably could have streamed, but I don't think we're in any fit state to stream, to be quite honest.
That would have been hilarious.
Drinking Gate. We streamed on Jag's channel, actually.
I get the feeling that the Friends of Al-Kharid channel would have been banned before my channel.
For sure. Yeah, we played some drunk golf with friends, and that was good fun.
That does sound like fun.
But yeah, we'll be doing that in the future, and I'll be doing that on my channel at some point in the future as well, because I want everyone in the Discord to get it. And we could just have fun.
I have another question, Ryan, about this new artwork. Why do I have some criminally underplayed cards above my name?
Well, you have one amazing card, one rubbish card, and one that's criminally underplayed. And Glenn chose the one to his side, so of course he went with Earthwave. Fight Pit for some amazing reason.
Fight Pit is the best Raptor card. It is the best gold game card in the game, unconditionally.
Best Raptor card ever.
And Trias Daith is just AIDS.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, these are just on the initial star page, and yeah, so we have some new artwork, as you can tell. We're going for a new look, new style, new clean, modern style. But I guess it's been a while, so should we just jump into the first?
Oh God, please jump in.
I'm jumping down a well. But anyway,
style, let's jump into the next
let's
segment.
go. We're going into the ladder, and we're starting off because it's actually been that long with the season 3 end of season ladder, which consisted of Selly taking number 1 spot. So congratulations to him, followed by Xmapack, Glenn. Fuck off! Stoof.
Who's that Glenn guy? Like, I never met him.
Yeah, Stoof at
He's
4.
always on top 10.
Ninja Pirate, Wannabe, Lucky Mellow, Matt P4, Bo's Crazy Dog, and Master of Mind. I just realised that is the best name I've seen in a long time in the top 10. Bo's Crazy Dog. What the hell's that
I
name
think
about?
firstly is congratulations to Selly, did really well there.
Yeah.
And Xmapack is always up there as well. Glenn, congratulations on number 3. I think it's worth pointing out that you are now the only player in the game who has finished top 10 all 3 times available. So well done to you.
I'm not gonna lie, it's stressful trying to get there as well.
Yeah, what decks did you use on the final day? Because I had some ladder time before I had to go to work that day, so I wasn't able to keep climbing. And then I was rank 11. I won 3 games, 4 games in a row, hoping to get that top 10 spot, but still just stayed at rank 11. There was that big gap. You went through that as well, right?
Yeah, well, basically, I played a ridiculous number of games last season. Like
Yeah.
Durando actually checked, and I played 680 games. But,
Fucking
yeah.
hell!
Holy shit!
That was just ranked as well.
Jesus.
Yeah, but, so what decks did you finish
But yeah,
out with?
so,
'Cause-
honestly, in the end, the last bit of the climb was my Miracle RyanN deck, which Merchant has done a video on last night. But I managed to climb into the top 10. I got to 7th the night before the end of the season, and then I stopped playing. But then when I woke up the next morning at 6 o'clock, I checked before work, and I was ranked 10. And I knew I could. I had time for one game before work, and I thought, right, I'm gonna go for it. So I
and
went
then he
into a
lost and
game
called
with.
in sick. Yeah,
I went into a game with my RyanN deck, came up against the Weaponlands, and I thought, oh god, and he bricked. So I won one game, and I went from rank 10 to rank 2 in one win.
Baby, that's pretty good. So there wasn't much of a gap between then. Because I was in the top 10 the night before as well, but then I woke up the next day and I was not anymore.
Rando actually checked for us. The gap in ELO between, basically, there was Eczema Pack and myself. I think there was literally 1 or 2 ELO points between us.
Yeah.
And then between us and 10th, it was basically 2 wins max. That's how close they were.
Yeah.
Selly was about 2 wins ahead of Eczema Pack. But then after rank 10, down to rank 11, there was quite a big cliff.
So I think this is a nice time to point this out. So last podcast, all that time ago, I said I'd just gotten a job. And been doing that for a couple of weeks now. And just finished a 45-hour week, followed by a 48-hour week. And in all of my days off, I've been traveling back to my uni accommodation to pick up all of my stuff. So I've had no time to play at all. And I tried, as I mentioned, I was rank 11 trying to climb, but then I dropped down to like rank 30 somewhere. I think that's where I think I was rank 25, and then I dropped to 30 by not playing and finished there. But I was trying to play the game on the old meta, like with Grieflins, which I actually had quite some success with. I think that deck's not too bad. And I was playing, a few other decks as well, like Aggro and Nescula. But yeah, I feel like I'm not on top form anymore. I feel like I have no idea what's going on in the meta. So I think you had a deserved top 10 spot, and I don't know what's going on anymore.
If you have even a couple of days off, then the
It
meta
changes
just
so much, yeah.
hard.
No,
What about you, Ryan, and you, Bundi?
Last season, I finished Plat 1. Out of stubbornness, I didn't go for the promotion. I couldn't be asked.
Finish, Ryan. Sorry.
That's go for it. Go for it.
Okay,
Go on, Bundi. Where did you finish?
I hit Diamond at 6 a.m. at the end of the season.
Nice.
Got ranked in at Diamond 21, finished Diamond 19 without playing a single game in Diamond.
Nice.
Because I literally got up at 6 a.m. after failing the promo games 3 times in the night. Played my promo games and went to bed again and didn't get up until the season ended.
It's a stressful situation, I guess.
I have to give a shout out here to Alcabus. Because the night before the end of the season, I think he was ranked 6th, and then he ended up going down to rank 10 because of other people playing and me playing, and I think he tilted hard because he ended up in the late 30s.
I played him twice in my promo games
Oh,
and
yeah.
he lost both.
Oh yeah, he did tilt very hard in that last day.
He ended in the late 30s like Glenn. Moving on to this season.
Just before we move on,
Okay.
I'm looking to beat you, Glenn, next season. I'm coming for you. I'll have a lot more time now because work's settling down. The summer holidays is over. Children are back to school. I'll have a bit more time. Things will be less busy. I won't be doing as long weeks, and don't have to go back to uni anymore for the.
I've already
rest
booked
of the summer.
holiday for the end of the season.
Should be good. But is this?
This
we
is
have
this season now.
Psychopat up there. I think he was
So
the first.
Psychopat was the first in, but he's been joined by Bacon Seeker, Ninja Pirate, Muggy, and Forest King 10, and Swoley Rossetti as well. So we have 6 people in Diamond, and then we have 4 people in Plat. But the 21 Plat is actually miles back. It's been a very slow climb for everyone this season so far.
Well, I had a few days off. I'm not gonna lie.
Well, you need to after playing 680 games in a season. Jesus. So everyone knows that the meta.
I have to point out here, Psychopat.
That's what I was going to
He
say.
actually got there on day 2.
Yeah, and
Impressive.
I was going to say, that everyone knows the meta was, at the very start of the season, was 1 AP RyanN and aggro Venescula. He actually got there with Raptor. Like, he just completely decimated everyone and just walked it. So, yeah. And then he was raging because he had no people to play against. So
Psychopath is...
He got to Diamond, and then he literally couldn't match up against anyone because no one was in Plat even.
Yeah, he was sitting in queue for 14 minutes before Alcabus queued into him because he was the only one in Plat.
That's mad. That is absolutely mad. But yeah, so I guess rank call, rank update. Everyone in the chat, spam me rank. I'm currently rank gold 27.
I'm silver 2 because I just lost in 3 cards to Garth.
Yeah.
I went
Silver
tormented
4.
demon Jad, and all of a sudden my Jad was aggressive.
I'm ranked 40 gold at the moment.
Oh, 40 gold. Bundi?
I'm silver 4, but I'm trying to make Mambo or something.
Oh.
Yeah, I just played against that and played around the Mambo.
Because you knew what I was playing.
Well, you did just say in the chat, like, yeah, I'm trying to make my Mambo Ozone work. Oh, queued up against you, Glenn. It's like, oh, well, I think that's give away your entire plan. So yeah, it looks like everyone's chilling in silver, yeah.
Yeah, I just want to talk a bit more about Psychopath and that Raptor deck, actually. I got that list off of Glenn very, very recently, actually, for the tournament. And I believe, I want to call that deck Honest Raptor. I know Freed calls it that. I think it's a very good name for it. I feel like that deck is a very honest deck. It doesn't have any cheesy bullshit in it. It's not annoying like Dust Devil or anything. I think Honest Raptor is a great name for that deck. And just calling it AP Sustain is rather boring. But I guess that is what it is. But Psychopath made that deck, and I think it's really, really well built. I really like that deck. I was running something kind of similar back in Season 1. Obviously, back then, Fledgling was a thing, so it's not exactly similar. But I really think that deck is very strong. I think Psychopath has found a very good Raptor list and did very well for me in the tournaments as well. So no wonder he was the first to Diamond, especially since it was so well optimized against all the 1 AP Arians. But also, congratulations to everybody else in Diamond as well, and the others on the top 10. But
It's a big
I'm
effort
sure
to reach it that quick.
it is,
Yeah.
and I'm sure as the season unfolds, we will see more up there. I know a lot of people don't like to climb right away because, as you mentioned, like sitting in the queue for 40 minutes, Psychopath, no one to queue in onto other than one guy. My favorite time to queue is when like you can just knock it all out like in 5 hours on whenever you want to do it. I don't like the whole waiting around thing, but yeah, definitely impressive to get up there early on in the season. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say on the topic.
I'd like to add a few words about the Raptor in
Go
the
for it.
current meta. There was a time where people were honestly saying that Agrovascular has no counter. And me, Musha, Free were conspiring about how Honest Raptor could be a thing again. I pushed to Diamond with it, Musha pushed to Diamond with it, Free pushed to Diamond with it, and Psychopath hands down had the best list going for it. I think a big reason of that is that he runs Scarface Pete's.
Yeah.
Oh, Scarface Pete is turning
What a
into
card.
Such a good card.
What a card.
Like, it's definitely gone up in power now that like stuff like Dagon of Sentinel has gone down, because then it's now like on the threshold where you might want to put it in the deck. I remember everyone like I used to run one copy. Do you remember the days?
I
Yeah,
vaguely
no,
do.
I do remember you running it. Yeah.
Yeah, but Psychopath runs 2, which I find interesting. I do like 2, but I always found 1 was more optimal. But that's back when Sentinel was really quite strong. But yeah, that is a nice list. I agree with Bundi.
Yeah. But staying on the subject of...
Sorry, one more thing. It's especially nice when you're playing against Bundi in the league, and you hit his Papa Mambo with a Scarface Pete.
Feels bad, man.
But yeah.
And he had all the potions, he had the gold, and I hit the Pete. I hit the Mambo.
Yeah. The Scarface Pete
I
is
set
strong.
2 in the league games. That's great. But, yeah.
I generally got like really bent over in the league games there.
Staying on the subject of the league, let's jump into
Yeah.
some competitive talk. We're actually going to start with, not with the league, but with the Chronicle Weekly Cup number 5, or the Bundi Cup as I've named it in my OBS.
It's the Bundy Freep Cup if you want to give it a cool name.
But yeah, it's the Weekly Cup number 5, as you can see by the amazing graphic on screen.
Graphic.
So,
baby.
Glenn...
Not 1, 2, 3, or 4, but 5.
That's a high quality artist.
I might keep up with the work and go get some commissions
We are hiring
going.
a new artist, as you can possibly tell.
But yeah, so we know X-Men Pack 1, number 1 and number 2, and then it swapped to Swiss format for 3 and 4, didn't it?
Yes.
And number 3 was won by...
It was either Equus or?
Number 1 was won by.
Yeah, 1 was Xma Pack, 2 was Xma Pack.
3 was Shredder, I think.
Yeah, and 4.
What? Shredder is communicating with people now?
Shredder is such a good player.
Yeah.
And I have to.
Shredder won
yeah,
4,
he's a
didn't
good
he?
player, but I thought he was uncontactable, a bit like.
I'm talking to him, like I PM with him.
Like, this is where I kind of hope he's in the chat watching this, because I know he has
Yeah.
on Twitch and he's watched every now and again. Like, honestly, when I first played against the guy on ladder, I absolutely hated his guts. Like, there's just something about his deck just triggered me really hard.
It was that Clown Venescula deck he used to
Yeah,
run.
yeah.
That one deck.
But that really triggered me. But it turns out that he's actually a really fucking nice guy, because I got a message the other day that he didn't want the prize money.
He didn't want his prize
He
for
wanted to donate it to
winning
me.
the cup, and he asked me to give it to Glenn.
Beautiful.
What? Why?
Absolute legend.
He didn't need it. He didn't need the stuff.
His reasoning was he has all the cards, he has no need for the prize, please say merchant to give it to Glenn.
Oh, well, nice guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just want to, before anyone takes me the wrong way, I think Shredder is good. Yeah, he's a good player,
Very good
and
player.
he's evolving. He's
Well,
played many more.
I fucking lost to him the other day on ladder
Back in the
through
day.
exiled Calfight Paragon, so
Oh wow.
time for me to quit the game forever. Like, I was on a 11 or 12 winning streak, something like that. I was chatting a load of rubbish, basically, in Discord, saying, I was going for a drink when I lost my next game, 12 wins later, I'm still thirsty as hell. And I queue against Shredder, and I'm like, yeah, I'm beating him, he's playing AP the next year. AP Raptor, I think he was actually playing. And then out of nowhere, exiled Calfight Paragon just destroys my weapon, I kill myself to a Ketzek, and I'm like, oh, what the hell am I meant to do against that? Like, that was out of nowhere.
I have a very cool story, because I played him in the quarterfinals in the first cup, and beat him 3-1. And he would have tore my ass apart if he could, but I played meme decks and he couldn't play around anything. So I got a chapter 1 lethal with Bloodshare Aggro Venescula against him, and basically cheesed my way through into the semis until I eventually got beat by my Pudge. But it was a really nice combination of decks that he was playing.
Yeah, no, he has got. Yeah, he's definitely evolved since that first early
He's
part
got
of the
a
game.
really good competitive lineup that he's running right
Mhm.
now, and he's definitely one to be feared if you're facing him.
Oh, definitely.
But yeah,
I think to finish, I want to just finish this. I want to say a big thank you to Bundi and Free for running
yeah,
this.
that's what I was going to say. The number 5
Yeah,
is up, so go and sign up to that. I'm trying to get a link
I
now.
can spam the challenge link.
Yeah, it's a great tournament because it's
There you
over
go.
in 2 or 3 hours. It's good practice for any competitive play that you want to get in, like
Mhm.
before things like the Invitational. When that happens, it's definitely going to happen. We just don't know when. So when that
Soon,
happens,
TM.
and the better you do in these tournaments, the leagues, the ladder, they're all going to combine. And if you can stand out, then Jagex are going to notice.
Yeah, exactly that. I don't want to sign up because I don't know if I'm going to be free. But if I'm
You
free,
never
I'll...
played.
Yeah, no, I haven't been free the last like 4 Sundays, so yeah.
I'm just signing up now.
Yeah. So go sign up for that and try your luck. It's over in one day, as Glenn said.
Look, you have to try your skill. It's a
And-
You need to win a third game. That means you can't just win with Miracle, RyanN, and Raptor.
Oh, feels bad, man. So yeah, I guess we briefly touch on the Irish Chronicle League that myself and Glenn run. It is the last 2.5 days of games being allowed. Obviously, if there's extenuating circumstances like Unforgiven's current circumstances, we might be looking at extensions and whatnot. But ideally, everyone will finish their games this weekend before this weekend ends.
Already ready for Premier
I can tell this kid went.
You just got really quiet, or was that me?
Yeah.
Really?
Really quiet. Oh, he's...
Sounded
Mike.
interesting.
There we go.
That's better.
But yeah, I've only got Bundi left to play, I think. So I've drawn
Yeah.
3, lost
Play
1.
free
Let's
kit.
go.
I've got to play Free Get, and I've got to beat him 4-0 to finish joint top with Free.
Good luck.
But
Freak,
Free
you
did
can,
it.
You can beat the Glen.
Yeah. But yeah,
I need Freak to lose, and then I need to be Unforgiven. Hopefully he comes back for me to finish top. But yeah, that's all there is to
that's
say on that.
happening. Yeah. Catch up on Sunday for the Sunday roundup. We'll actually be live this Sunday, so that's going to happen.
Champ.
But yeah, we move on into the next section, which is going to be the spotlight, but we only have one featured person, and he deserves it. It's the guy that was number 1 into Diamond. It is Psychopat, who
What is this video about?
He's produced a lot of content, like good content to watch. And
I have seen him posting videos. I've not watched very many of them, but that's a facet of me not having very much time as opposed to anything else. But yeah, Psychopat definitely a very good player.
He actually has.
See what he has to say about stuff.
He has 3 games of the Honest Raptor you were talking about, so you can go and watch his thought process through it and how to play the deck quite well. It turns out.
If he's in the chat, like I'm intending to make a bunch of I want to make a bunch of deck guides that are about very well optimized decks, and I feel like his deck, meets that criteria. If he doesn't mind, would he mind me covering the deck guide?
That's if he's in the chat, yeah.
Well,
He's a nice guy, I'm sure he'll be willing
He's in
to.
the Discord, so.
But yeah, certainly Psychopat, definitely worth checking out. Very good player.
Yeah, good player, good content. Like he's, I don't know, it's just good to watch someone who's actually good at the game playing. Considering Glenn hasn't been live. Didn't say a word. Moving swiftly on. Yeah.
Jump into the next segment.
So yeah, let's jump into it.
I'm looking for a new fucking podcast.
I heard Bukowsko's waiting, but we have some card changes, guys. We haven't been live since these got introduced into the game, so it seems like an eternity away. But in a way, it works quite well because it means now we've had a lot of time to get our opinions on these cards, actually play them a bit.
Roll up being broken.
Yeah.
Every single one of them, especially that chin chomper. That's so good.
Overall, I think these cards are like actually looking at them at the start. I was like, these are average, like these barely won't see any play. But so many of them have crept into decks. It's like these have actually introduced a really good level of interaction with your opponent. Some of them are really good utility cards. It's like I think they've done such a good job with these cards. None of them seem outlandishly broken. None of them seem really bad. I mean, Zamarakian Recruiter is probably the worst one there, but
I reckon a good idea here if we each pick one card.
Well, we're just going to go through them all, to be quite honest.
Oh, go on.
Because, yeah, some of the cards are going to have more to say about than others. I guess we start with Clairvoyance, considering it's in the top left. Gain gold equal to the rival's base stack and not cost spell for RyanN.
This is probably the card that has brought RyanN right back to the top of the game.
Yeah.
And it's busted.
It's not busted.
I don't think it's busted, I just think it's good.
There was a suggestion for a change on the forum that I actually quite like from Exmo Pack, and that was to change it to gain gold equal to half rival's total attack, and with 1 or 2 gold reward. I quite like that because there's a little bit more. There's a little bit more skill there because you can predict weapons and stuff.
However, just giving it a base 1 gold, so you can't just slam it down for
I don't like this. I feel like this is worded more simply, and I feel like this effect, like...
I like this card. I don't think it's that strong.
I don't think it is either. I think it's fine the way it is.
As it is because it's. I don't think it's broken at all.
No.
It has the upside of being the strongest gold gain card in the game for 0 gold.
You're wrong.
Fight Pit is.
But Fight Pit has an outlandish condition to fulfill.
So does Clairvoyance. The opponent needs base attack, otherwise you get 2 or even 1 in the current meta.
So I think the thing to take away from Clairvoyance is that it is one of the best gold game cards out there, except in the mirror matchup against other AP Arians. But one AP Arians. But then, like, who cares? It's a mirror matchup anyway. You're on fair terms. Yes, it's a really good card, but like RyanN was missing that, right? Like after Haunted Soul had its head put on the chopping block, there was not very much gold gain, and I think a lot of her spells are very expensive. So Clairvoyance brings all of that back into perspective. I think it's not like too good, but it is definitely a great card, definitely.
Like, I'm not talking about Ogre Brood levels of Busted. I just think it provides a little bit too much.
I wouldn't mind, as stupid as it sounds.
Because you look at... Oh, go on, sorry.
As stupid as it sounds, I wouldn't mind if they made it cost 1 and drop 1. Because then you have to have a gold to play it. So...
Yeah, but you never play it... Like, that only really stops it on Chapter 1, right? And, like, you never really want to play it there very often.
Well,
it's then griefable as well.
Yeah, you can grief it with Bruxen and stuff like that better.
I don't know, I just feel like it can be really good. But I don't feel as if RyanN's in such a position where gaining that much gold is actually that crucial. Like, to a good player, it will be. but
I think it's okay.
I like the card. I think
it's like
good.
Ali Morrisane, better than it slightly than Ali Morrisane, but I think it's okay for RyanN to have that. I feel like old Haunted Soul was like that similar kind of power level, like better than Ali Morrisane. 5 damage and 2 gold, that's insane. I feel like Clairvoyance is usually better than Ali Morrisane. I feel like it's in that same kind of spot, but it's not so egregious because it's not like dealing damage or something like that.
Yeah,
like it feels.
I actually think it's much more of a combo card than an aggressive card, and that's what they were going for, and it fits that theme perfectly.
So,
yeah, it definitely fills a role. Like it fits a gap, and that's what when Markaza came on, wanted to talk, was telling us about. Right, all the cards here kind of fit gaps, so they're trying to find cards that fit gaps. That's when they make new cards. I feel like Clairvoyance fits. RyanN needs gold, and also there's that sort of interaction with your opponent, which is really, really cool. But I think we've covered Clairvoyance quite nicely.
Yeah. Well, the last
definitely
touching
one of the
word.
stronger cards in these sets, right?
When I found out what it was, I did compare it to the Bergdorf Citizen, where they took the bits off Alpha Werewolf and Gorge, made it into a card. I feel like they did exactly the same with RyanN, and that's absolutely fine.
And that's another way to look at it. Yeah.
And the thing is, a lot of people still are not convinced on the power of Bergdorf.
Well,
They still think it's underwhelming, while it's actually
it's actually
very,
really good.
very strong card
Yeah.
in most
Yeah, I think it's a very, very
Escalatics.
strong card. Yeah.
Yeah, I won a game with it the other day. Drained the
Black
guy of
Chips
his last health. Beautiful.
Definitely not so good as Clairvoyance, right?
No.
The 2 armor's pretty good. But that
The one weapon
Again,
durability can make a difference,
Yeah,
but it
it
most likely
rarely
won't.
will.
I think the main point of adding this card is like we've now got some weapon removal in the basic set. Like it's not great, but it introduces new players to it.
Yeah,
Just
and then
want a
like,
giant red.
yeah, but like that's the thing, right? Like new players will look for weapon, like they'll look through their collection.
At least they've
and
got
go,
options now.
Oh, Black Chin Chomper, remove 1 weapon durability. I can put that in my deck, and then they'll realize, oh, removing weapon durability, that's a thing that exists in the game, and then they might go on to look for cards that do something better, because clearly it's not as good as, say, Bar Fight, Giant Rat, Cow Fight Emissary, like all of these things that are put into, or Tool Belt even, like, and other cards that remove. Like this one's clearly not very good, right? And it's not supposed to be good when you look at the stats. It's a 1/2 creature. Like the effect it's going to give has to be, really small. And I think 2 armor and 1 durability removal fits the size of the creature very well. So like, I think it's fairly costed, given that it's a 1/2 creature. But is it slot efficient?
It's severely
No,
underwhelming.
It's not a good card. But that's fine. That's okay. And I think it has a role in the game. New players see that this is a mechanic.
100%.
And it's another card that introduces interaction. I like it.
Yeah.
And sometimes you'll pick it in Dungeoneering. Two arm is fine,
Yeah, especially with some of the choices
Yeah,
you
it's,
get.
it's never a dead card.
Yeah. But the next one looks like some much, much better weapon removal.
Dark Fanatic. See, I'm gonna argue with a few people who are saying that this is
We
really
disagree
good.
here.
Glenn, I know you love
I wanna hear what
comparing
you have to
this
say, Ryan.
to Tool Belt. Glenn compares this to Tool Belt, and I think that's completely the wrong thing to say. He says, yes, it works on Slime Toes. Yeah, sure it does, but Tool Belt works better. Like, I don't know, as weapon removal
Why does it work
goes,
better?
because
No, it doesn't work
a
better
0-3
because
a
you're not
0-3 weapon
spending Slime Toes weapon.
or a 0-2, some people do. Like, you brick sometimes with Grief Linzer and you want to repurpose, you want to do prototype even, stuff like that. Anything that requires a weapon, removing its weapon attack doesn't actually get rid of the weapon itself, even if it goes down to 0 attack. So surely you're much better off running things like Cow Fight Emissary, Bar Fight, Tool Belt that will just kill the weapon off. Like the 2 gold I feel is good and can work well in things like Grief Linzer. Now she's been touched a little bit, like that's quite good for that. But I don't feel as if this is as strong as a lot of people are making out.
I basically the way I see it is the majority of the time, like I'd say probably 90% of the time, the effect you get from removing 3 weapon attack is the same as a Tool Belt. Yes, it doesn't do it all the time, but I'd say 90% is more than enough to warrant the extra 2 gold gain, because gold gain is a little bit more difficult now in Grief Linzer.
Yeah.
The way
I'd
I'm
go
looking
for it,
at this
Bundi, yeah.
card is basically you can slam it down. It's 2 gold for free most of the time, and it has the potential to have a really good upside if you snap something with it. So you can place it in the spots where you would usually place a Tool Belt, and if it's missing, you still get 2 gold out of it.
Yep.
While Tool Belt is just nothing. Nothing happens.
So yeah, while I'm saying it's definitely not better than Tool Belt, I think they're very, very similar on a power level. Because Tool Belt, it will wipe out a Tetsu Katana. This just makes it a little bit less effective. Like in terms of how big the weapon attack gets, Dark Fanatic gets worse and worse. So if you have a 10-3 weapon, you're much better obviously eliminating the durability than the attack. Whereas if it is a 3-2 weapon like a Slime Toes, then sure, Fanatic does work quite well. Again though, spending weapons, if you're going to spend a weapon, its attack doesn't matter. So they're very similar. It's a good card, I just don't think it's as broken as a lot of people are saying.
No, it's not.
No, it's not broken.
by any
I'm not
means.
saying it's broken at all. I'm just saying it's a very good card.
I think that's a very good point that Ryan brings up, because I almost exactly agree with Glenn, right? Like, that is basically tool belt, like, but better because it gives you 2 gold. Strictly better tool belt. That was my thinking. But yeah, the bigger the weapon is, you're right. So against Weapon Linzer, this is no good. And against Grief Linzer, as you mentioned, like, you're not going to destroy their weapon, so they can still spend it on Feminine Crafter. Though sometimes you might hit it and they can't spend on Dust Devil because the weapon's not large enough to kill it. So maybe that works out. But, certainly stuff like Karam, Repurpose, Varrock Museum, not going to stop that at all. Fine. Dark Fanatic is not good against Linzer because she has Tetsu Katana, which is a huge weapon, but also the small weapons as well. I agree with Ryan there. It's not as good as Tool Belt in that situation.
I think it's a good card.
All the other AP decks, all of the honest ones, like that have Slime Toes in them, or Tormented Demon or something like that, Dark Fanatic is strictly better than Tool Belt, I feel like. Like, it has almost exactly the same effect, removing the weapon. But yeah, against Weapon Linzer and Grief Linzer, I agree with you.
Yeah,
it's
my argument
good.
there is in the current meta, Grief Linzer isn't a thing, let's be honest.
And I agree with Glenn on that point as well. Grief Linzer is not seen as often, right? I think it's a good deck. I'm surprised.
It's a tournament deck by now.
Yeah, it's
I haven't been playing as much, so I am surprised that it's gone. But either way, I think, Grief Linzer is a deck that's here to stick around. Everyone knows what it is, what it does. It's always going to be there, right? Dark Fanatic's not as good against it. But aside from that, I do think it is a better tool belt.
I think it's a good card. Like, it does feel exactly the same. It fills a spot, and it does interact with the opponent, and that's again something that was missing. Like, all the weapon attack removal was crap, like really bad. Smuggler, is it Smuggler? The Ozan card that cots and you have to steal it. You have to have a weapon. It's just so bad. Like, all the weapon attack removal.
Costs nothing. It might be a lot better, but it actually costs 3 gold, which is just crazy.
But yeah, like, the weapon attack removal wasn't really a thing. Now we have weapon attack removal. Sure, it's legend specific, but it fills a spot, and it does work.
It shows people, it's in the game.
Yeah, exactly that. So while I do get down on it, it was more because this is so much better than Tool Belt, and I just don't agree. So,
well, I think it is, but
I think it fills a different role, but can do the same things on a small scale.
Bundi, what do you think of Goblin Village?
I love it.
Good card.
Milling decks are the future.
Okay, so you're saying this is the first in many cards that will make the mill deck vibe, the more brand mill deck vibe.
No, but on an honest note, it's a 0 gold, gain 2, draw a card. And most of the time, you want to draw cards in aggro decks, and that's where it's played.
Yeah, I thought of that too, right? I thought, okay, so both legends draw a card. That's a symmetrical effect. And because of that, you can basically write it off so that it doesn't exist. And then you're looking at a 0 cost, gain 2 gold, which is effectively Black Arm Bandit, which isn't a very good card. But then, if you can make your card draw like more useful, like if the card you're drawing is more useful to you than the card they are drawing is useful to them, then as you're saying, it's effectively 2 gold, draw a card. But then, I don't know, I still don't think that's like quite good enough, because it's like competing with Krasian Warrior, right? Something like that. I feel like it's not really ever going to make the deck. Like, it's on the maybe it's like on the threshold, but just below. And that was my take on that. I don't think Goblin Village
I think it's a small filler card for aggressive decks and aggressive Morven in terms of Goblin Morven.
Yeah.
And it can help you get ahead, find the finishing power you need.
There's more than enough drawing Goblin Morven already though, because you're specifically drawing goblins.
Yeah, Stinkies?
Stinkies, Strength.
And then in other Morvaran decks,
And consistency, that's what I was trying to say.
Okay.
I like it, and there's someone just pointing out in the chat, if they're already going for 7 cards, like, your extra draw for them doesn't actually matter, because at the end of the chapter they're going to get cards anyway.
So a draw to you is almost always going to be better to them, like, on average, especially if you have less cards than them, right? Like, yeah, and as you mentioned, if they have 7, that completely nullifies it anyway, but I still feel like it's a Black Arm Bandit. Like, it's better than that, obviously, but when Krasian Warrior exists, I'm not sure if I could ever find a spot to put it in. It's definitely not a bad card, though, but I'm not sure if it quite reaches that threshold of being good enough to go into a Morvaran deck. But
it's another one where it's a nice introductory card, and it's never a dead card in Engineering.
Yeah,
exactly.
It's actually quite useful in Engineering.
Yeah. But we're going to skip over the next card because I want to come back to that last. We're going to move on to...
Okay.
We're moving on to Loot Cache, which is Is that Ozan's colour? It is, isn't it?
That's Ozan's card.
Ozan only card. It's an equipment which makes
I'll let you
Ramaki
guys go
Hoarder
first.
worse.
I'm actually really interested to see what you guys think about Loot Cache because I found it quite difficult to evaluate unless for a few minutes, like, because I haven't really been playing, right? As I mentioned, I did that 45-hour week, 48-hour week at work as well, and I haven't like had a time to really look at these or think about them at all. And it took me like a good 2 minutes to come to a conclusion on Loot Cache. So I'm really interested to see what you guys think.
Go on, Ryan.
Dungeoneering, never a dead card. I think we're saying that for a lot of these, but it's so true.
Yeah.
Like, you're going to get two armor, whether or not. I had this played against me twice in one chapter the other day for 14 armor, and that's actually like a lot. I was upset. I was genuinely upset. I was like playing Weapons, I was ready to kill them. Where the you just got 14 armor out of nowhere. So I think it's actually a pretty good card.
I think it's just not good enough to be run consistently. But
I think as a good player, it is.
If we're ever in a situation where Weapon Ninja becomes dominant, then yeah, you can quite easily find a spot for it then.
I don't think that the card is slot efficient enough to make the cut for most Ozan lists right now, as they're already very, very tight.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's a really strong card in Engineering.
Yeah.
And if the meta calls for it, Ozan finally has a tech card that he can use instead of Smuggler or Highwayman.
Yeah.
And that's my point of view about the card.
Yeah. I think you two make two very good points. I think Glenn mentioned consistency, and Bundi mentioned slot efficiency. I think, like, with regards to slot efficiency, it's if you get it to work, it's 7 armor for 0 gold, which is, it's like Romley Weak Legs. That's 7 life, right? But it's better than life because armor you can stack, whereas health you have to have actually taken some damage, and that's not always so good. But so I think, like, in terms of slot efficiency, it's fine. But the issue is how likely are you to always get this off? How reliable is this? And it's, compared to Romley, not very reliable, really.
The condition.
Yeah, that's, the condition of being, them having to have a weapon compared to 2 gold. When you get it to work, you get, like, some really, really great value, but you won't always be able to play it. And when you're low on life, you often go, I need to heal right now. And then paying 2 gold for a 7 life that keeps you alive, you're okay with that. But, like, if you're low on life, you need to heal right now, and they don't have a weapon. This is no good, right? So it doesn't have that sort of flexibility like other heals do. But it's slot efficient. It will see play in Dungeoneering. Because it's not reliable enough, I don't think it will be played in Constructed. But the interaction is there. I think that's cool, and it fills a gap. Ozan doesn't have any heals, really. I mean, Amscat Mystic now feels that role as well, but it's not like, say, RyanN, which has Lady Heffy and Shield Dome, or, another class like Raptor, Rock Cake, Anticipation, Armored Zombie, fucking everything, right? What else? Other classes have heals, right? I felt like Ozan didn't have any kind of, like, heals, and I felt like Loot Cache is now that crappy heal, like Shield Dome, that the class has access to, so I like it for that reason, but I don't think it quite meets the threshold of being constructed playable, but it's not a bad card. And that was basically what I decided.
And that's what basically applies to most of the cards in this list.
They're not a bad card. I completely agree.
Because they're like, you get them at the start of the game, right? I feel like that's where they ought to be in terms of power level. So I think Jagex hit it right.
Yeah, they've actually done a really good job with these.
I love it. Yeah.
Vampire Juvenate, not quite so good though.
Well, I just want to quickly.
I beg to disagree.
All right, go on, Bunny. I want to hear this.
It can have a really big impact. I think it's an even weaker version of Bloodshare.
Yes.
That doesn't mean that it's a bad card. It just means that you need to be very careful when playing it. And the fact that it's a 2/2 means that you can put it into any aggro deck that you want to play.
Yeah.
But I think it's more of an engineering card. If you want to go for the 1 health cheese, play Bloodshare. But if you get in engineering, this card can have a huge impact because you're forced to play very tight on minion life with your weapons and reach and engineering.
Yeah. Ryan, you had an experience with this earlier today, didn't you?
Let's just start with, I don't really like this card. I don't think it's very good. It's just, very, in terms of engineering, again, I don't think it's going to be that often a bad card. Like, Dungeoneering, people are always tight on.
Always killable, right? It always has an effect that's like semi-useful. Like, it's not
Yeah,
Like, it's
and
always-
compared to some of Venescula's fucking Sapphires and Basics, you're going to take this. Like, over Word or Terradog or
Hey, Shredder runs Word in his competitive.
Jared or, like, I'm just looking through now, Dreadnought. These got so bad, and you're going to take this over all of them. Because it's the same, same as zero-cost supports in Dungeoneering. Like, you take them over higher cost that you don't have the gold for, because you can just slam them down and get rid of them, even if they're bad. So
And it does something, right?
Yeah.
Unconditionally does
Stream down,
something,
stream,
which is always valuable.
Stream down.
is it?
So, like, Bundy
That's
says this is kind of like Bloodshed, and you can just put it in an aggro deck, which is true,
No, it's not.
because... Am I okay to keep going?
Yeah, keep
it's fine, it's
going.
fine.
Glenn's talking to himself.
And it, like, against other aggro decks, maybe you hit their Troll Chucker, maybe you hit their
Alpha Werewolf.
Krasiomora. Yeah, Alpha Werewolf, and that they take an extra bit of damage, or, you know, something like that. It could always do, like, some damage, and then sometimes maybe you hit their Jad, and it deals 15. So it's always, like
And breaks
could
a
fit the
weapon. Like, yeah,
But then-
it could be good.
A lot of the time, it will just be 2/2 does nothing, like, because one life is just not big enough, and that's sometimes the case with Archmage Cedrador. It's sometimes the case with, well, I don't think there's any other ones that currently see play, but like for that reason, I feel like it's yeah, you could put it in an aggro deck, but like, will it make the cut? Are there other cards that you would like put in over this? And I think
Definitely.
currently, yeah, like with the current aggro Venescula, you know, out which wants to be on 3 base attack, you've got so many good cards: Troll Chucker, Werewolf Rebel, the Leech thing, right? Like you'd never put Vampire Juvenate in; it's just not good enough. But like for a new player who's just got no cards in his collections, trying to figure out Venescula, this looks pretty good. Goes in my aggro deck, and then it's got that interaction, like, and at least they're thinking about that there, and they
And
see
they're learning.
mechanic in the game. Yeah, and like as you mentioned, reasonable in Dungeoneering as well. Will it see constructed play at a high level?
Probably
No.
not.
I
But
don't think so either.
yeah, but it's fairly costed, but it's not slot efficient.
It's also going to lead people into making Fern, which is going to be hilarious when people play that. People are going to get
you'll be
Vampire
like,
Juvenate. It will hit
really
once.
good for me. This Fern card looks
Press
insane.
F
Yeah.
in the chat for Fern.
Yeah, rip Fern. But the next card is Zamarakian Recruiter, arguably the worst out of the lot for me. I hate it so much. So it's a 1 gold cost
Why?
draw, and an unreliable Goblin Trickster, which does for allies instead of equipment. So, yeah, if this was free, it might see play, in my opinion. This, in its
Yeah,
current
I
form.
think
Still don't think it would.
When I looked at it, I was like,
There's
why
a
does this
cycle
cost 1?
card in Miracle Area and Kappa.
Like, Glenn brought up a good point when we touched on it earlier, that against Grief Lindsay, this would be really good. Buy Karam, buy Major Mary. Like, these are 2 cards that you want to get rid of out of their deck. If they've already drawn them in the hand, though, it's not very good. If you don't have any gold spare, which most decks in Constructed won't really, why the hell would you want to play this? Like, it's
I'm
just...
looking at Grief Lindsay right now, and I've got Rumley Weaklaxes in there, so there's always some random junk that, like...
It will get
I
rid
don't
of
mind losing.
something.
Like, yeah, but it's not going to be consistent. It's not going to consistently get rid of Karam. And if it did that, then it would be good. Like, you go, this card's pretty good. Like, let's take a look at Miracle RyanN. What allies have you got in here? Like, there's always going to be some random shit. Like, Archmage said, they don't really care if you lose. Like, getting rid of
Ali
that's not really the
Morrisans,
game.
Gnome
But then you've got
Healers.
Gnome Healer, like this, like, yeah, you get rid of an ally, but it's not that good. And like,
Death.
obviously in Dungeoneering, removing equipment is just way better
Yeah,
because
exactly.
well, it used to be, at least when Full Tetsu was insane.
Did you
But
even
like
get
in
the
Raptor, you know, Amulet of Fury, when that gets discarded, you're always pissed off because it's like
Tetsu
part of your
Katana
win.
when you're
Tetsu
Lindsay.
Katana, absolutely. But like, I don't think allies have that same impact when they're lost out of your deck like equipment does. Goblin Tricks will always be better in Dungeoneering because I feel like equipment just happens to be like better
It's
cards.
better, yeah.
Whereas
That's why
allies
Necrovirus
not
isn't
really.
particularly a good card either, for
Yeah.
example.
Completely agree.
Yeah, that's true. But then again, like, Necrovirus is incredibly overcosted and doesn't do really
If
good.
you made it to work with any support card, I think it would be fine.
Yeah, but at least they wrote draw a card on it, right? Like, it doesn't do nothing. At least you get to
Yeah.
draw a card and you do something that's reasonable, but this will never see constructed play unless unless, like, someone's running some very specific deck that has, like, some
Deck
very
destruction.
specific ally in it, right, that you want to get rid
Death.
of. Maybe then. Yeah, but all the
I think
decks
the
that run
one
death have
saving
other
grace,
allies.
the one saving grace for this is it'll encourage people to actually go and have a look at, oh, what's an ally?
Yeah, that's true. That's definitely true. And I also think a saving grace is the flavor. This is very, very flavorful. Like,
Yeah.
What's his name? Makaza mentioned this too. Like, it's called Zamorak. You know, Kruta Zamorak, for those that don't know, is like this evil god in basically this guy's recruiting for ISIS. So you remove an ally out.
Wow.
That guy is, he's gone to the dark side. That's why he's leaving your deck. So I think that's very flavorful.
Beautiful. Beautifully summed up, that is. Maybe he's recruiting for your zombie crew. Oh, that transition.
That was terrible, Ryan.
Now, this, I want to really start with this one because this is a card I've been playing since it came out in an aggro Ozan deck. Let's go. It's basically like a Black Marketeer, which does damage instead. And Black Marketeer is a really, really good card in aggro Ozan. Like, you stop their... maybe a Kaizad, make them take 7 damage off a Krasi, and you stop it a worthy opponent. Like
now that you say that, holy crap, you're so
it's
right. Like,
actually a really, really good card.
It's way better than Black Marketeer. Like Black Marketeer, they make my thing cost 1 more, and then I can't pay for it. And I'm like, well, I still have the gold. Doesn't really matter. This actually steals the gold. Like that's so much better, and deals 2 damage. Like this thing is like Scorpion. It's better than Scorpion.
It's the dream of every Samorigal deck too.
And
that's true as well. Like it actually has a useful family on it as well. Like this thing, like just is now another tool that aggro decks have, or at least the deck that the aggro decks that don't really want to be on 3 base attack.
I love it.
Desert Snake, Ring of Recoil, like
Isn't this card
like that. It goes into that deck.
I actually slotted against Ring of Recoil because Ring of Recoil gets significantly worse the more AP you run.
Yeah.
I swear you were playing against Freaker and Interjection, and he played Zombie Crew and stopped your buck, and that lost you one of the games.
I won a game against Interjection as well because the Zombie Crew team early and he didn't have the resources to get the double combo off.
There you go. That's
true.
How strong this kind of card is. Like Gold Grief is highly underestimated in the game.
Oh, massively.
I think
I've had
Master Frost
barricades
makes a good point as well. He says Black Marketeer makes 0 costs. Support's not work. So if you're going first on, you can stop their Ali Morrising. Like that is true. That is an upside to.
That's what I mean, though. But this is another way of doing it. It's another spot that's been
It
filled.
won't stop,
It
it
doesn't
won't
stop
stop
the Ali
us
Morrising.
No, but that's what I mean. Like sometimes you want to play a Black Marketeer, sometimes you want to play Zombie Crew. Like.
Yeah, I feel like Zombie Crew will be more useful on average, though. Like,
Yeah,
most of the
both.
time, Zombie Crew will be better because it like does 2 damage as well, and removing 1 gold is like guaranteed to happen. And Black Marketeer isn't all of those things. And the specific circumstance of where it blocks Ali Morrising really only happens on Chapter 1, and you have to be going first, and they have to play Ali Morrising. So I don't know if that's necessarily like a great comparison, but it is certainly something Zombie Crew doesn't do. But on average, I think Zombie Crew way better, and it's undead.
And again, Dungeoneering, another great pick. Like,
Yeah,
to be fair, I'm going to be really struggling for picks in Dungeoneering.
There's a lot of good
I want to
physical
take all
stuff.
of them.
Like, I'm really happy that, like, you could lose your gold is now, like, an actual thing that you have to think about a lot more. Because Zombie Crew is, like, very likely to happen compared to something like South Sea Pillager, which...
I think you're
not
forgetting
South Sea Pillager.
Osman.
No, what's
No,
the guy that
Osman's
steals
thing,
2 gold,
like,
right?
it's
That
the-
pirate guy. And Drunken Pirate. Like, people don't run Drunken Pirate because it's bad. People might run the guy that gives you 2 cannonballs and steals a gold, but like
Saucy
you'll
Wench.
know that's going to be in their deck because they're running some weird Lady Z deck. Zombie Crew's going to be in pretty much every aggro deck, so you always have to have, like, it has to be really you're going to have to think about losing your gold, right? And that's healthy for the game. I think that kind of grief wasn't present, and now it is. So I'm glad that's here.
Yeah, I agreed. And I think that sums it up. I think we all think it's a very good card. Me and Bundi play a lot of it. And yeah. Zombie Monkey is the last one on the list, but not the last card we're going to be talking about. Just remembered.
Why is this a
Definitely
Raptor
worse
card?
than Jubilee.
This is just
Just-
bad.
It doesn't seem to fit with Raptor either.
No. Doesn't make any sense.
I think it kind of does, because Raptor doesn't have any need to like interact with your opponent's stats. Like, Raptor's always been this, I'm just gonna like do my own thing, build my own stats up, not really care about what you're doing. And Zombie Monkey like says, nah, let's give Raptor a way to actually play with his opponent. But then again,
Like, you'd much rather play things like
You're
Fenkenstrain.
seeing this from a high level perspective, but for a long time, Raptor was the only class that had basic weapon durability removal in it. So
Bash.
it was the strongest deck for new players against Linza. So I think that a lot of people were disappointed when they found out that Bash and Slab are cards that you're not usually running.
Mm-hmm.
Because Raptor does so much better just doing his own stuff. And I think Zombie Monkey tries to is yet another card that tries to teach people about grief. That grief is a important part of the
that's
game.
the only reason for it, I think.
I mean, it's killable in one hit. So, like, if it misses everything, then you've not lost anything. You've lost a slot, but
being a 1/2.
Yeah. It's just not great. You're right there, Bundi, where they've tried to make Raptor interfere with his opponent with weapon removal and stuff, but I just feel that this is another push to try and give Raptor another way of being played, but there's nowhere near enough cards in his set, especially, that will contribute to that sort of play style.
And the cards that he has with are terrible. Just look at
That's what I mean. Like, the other class-specific cards, Loot Cache, Dark Fanatic, they've all added to a certain way of playing a deck. And I just feel like Zombie Monkey's just kind of going to sit there for a bit until it becomes a viable card.
I agree. But, like, at the very least, I think you can sum this card up with fairly costed, because it is,
Yep.
but not slot efficient at all.
And it also makes Zemo Raptor a thing.
And
And
The Zombie Monkey, Zombie Crew, Zamorgul Raptor deck.
Let's go.
with Undead Dragons.
But yeah, and the last card is the one that's probably going to be the most debated, which is why I've left it till last. It's Test of Might. Who actually wants to start on this one?
I think we should start with Glenn, because he has the strongest opinion. He has the strongest feeling about it, right?
Yep.
It's broken.
Yep. Incorrect. Bye, Glenn. Just deleting you off the podcast.
All right, Glenn, tell it what makes you say it's broken? Because I'm surprised that is your honest assessment of it.
We learnt all the way back in closed beta that effectively you when you think about this card, you think about it as a strike.
You actually deleted his cam.
Just for a second.
You've got to think about this as a strike, because that's how it will be played. And what we've learned in the past, and what we still see nowadays, is strikes are probably one of the strongest mechanics in the game. And there's a reason. Like, you look at Wilderness, you look at Duel Tournament, they were used to be free. The problem with them being free was...
Duel Tournament was never free.
No, it was.
It was originally.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, alright.
All battle cards were free, right?
Oh yeah, I remember them changing it now. They changed Duel
but
Tournament, but not
the problem
Wilderness.
with it was never the secondary effect of, like with Wilderness, the extra 2 damage, or Duel Tournament, the draw a card. Those cards were never played for that reason. It was it was because it was a free strike, and adding a gold to it slowed down Agrozan, etc. Like striking decks, because they needed to be slowed down, because they had to think about gold gain then. Only a little bit, but that was enough to slow them down.
Yep.
Bringing this card back, all of a sudden, it buffs Weapon Ninja, it buffs Agrozan, it buffs any AP deck that wants to strike and doesn't want to care about gold. It just speed those kind of decks up too much again.
Right, so
I don't actually play it in my aggro, so.
no, me neither. I
don't think it sees playing it.
want to jump in
It sees a lot
to
of players.
counter Glenn here. He always, when it came out, he was like, "Oh, it's zero cost battle. This was broken back in the day." And I bring up the point that back in the day, how many other cards were different? Like, Jesus Christ, there was no exhaust on a lot of cards. These zero cost battles were a problem because of other cards as well.
Yep, I agree fully.
And I feel like Test of Might, while it's a very, very good card, and it is seeing play in my Weapon Linzer, it is seeing play in certain people's Agrozans, because, to be quite fair, it's if you don't draw Ketzak, this is a good alternative going out of your Skilly Champion, things like that. But I don't feel it's actually that broken. Like, you can look at the meta, the strike decks just aren't really a thing. AP RyanN won't run this. Aggro Venescula won't run this. The Honest Raptor won't run this. And there's a reason, because this card is good in certain situations, and I just don't feel it's that broken. If it was that broken, the meta would be completely strike dependent, and everyone would just be losing their minds over it again.
So I think Glenn is right about the past, okay? Like, the zero cost strikes were too strong. But that's because there were lots of them, right? You had Wilderness, Duel Tournament, as I've been corrected on. You also had Snapshot, which I'm going to count as a strike.
Yep.
And all of these combined, like, they were all zero cost. They were all very good. Now, Wilderness, the reason that, like, I didn't see a change straight away, but it needed one, because it deals 2 damage as well. So it deals like 2 guaranteed damage plus a strike. That's lots of damage. That's like, if you're on 3 base attack, 5 damage, even without a weapon, more if you have a weapon. And that's kind of good in the same way that Desert Snake is good, right? You're dealing lots of damage, but you take some back, but that's okay, because you're dealing lots of damage. You get that 2 extra on it as well. But and Dual Tournament obviously draws a card, so it has some extra utility there. And once all of these things, once Snapshot was changed to cost 1, and Wilderness and Dual Tournament were changed to cost 1, there's nothing that strikes that costs 0. And there is a gap there that's been identified, and I think like there is room for a card that costs 0, and I think this is it. The card that doesn't do anything other than Battle Rival. That's all it says. In an aggro deck, you're not going to put back Test of Might in like just a, you know, like a deck that say runs Troll Chucker with I don't know, say Scorpion, the Zombie Crew, Ring of Recoil, Desert Snake. Like
the kind of classic 3 AP aggro deck.
Yeah, or even something that's like more hyper aggressive than that. But like you wouldn't put Test of Might in, because all it is, if you're on 2 base attack or even 3 base attack, is, you know, between 2 and 3 damage, which isn't that much, given that they're going to hit you back. In the mirror matchup, that's no good. Whereas Wilderness was good on 0 gold in that deck, because you've got that 2 extra guaranteed damage as well. So, and Dual Tournament will draw you a card. Like I feel like Test of Might here is not as good, but certainly, like, I feel like the game has room for a 0 cost support, and I think that's very strong, given that you can, like, play Captain Rovan into, you know, the Dragon set, into Test of Might, or just any deck that doesn't care about gold rate. It fits that really well, but I think that's okay. I think that's a place
I just
the
think
game doesn't have yet.
the idea of, like, because striking your opponent is a very strong mechanic. I think
But that's why this isn't a strike, it's a battle.
Yeah.
No, but it's effectively a strike. It's treated as a strike because your opponent can't plan for it, because it doesn't see it come. You can't plan to equip a weapon to then hit back.
But that's
It
like
might
saying
have
Wilderness
the same
and
for
Dual
every
Tournament
card.
and Bar Fight
Yeah.
are all strikes, and then definitely
I want
not.
to make a very important point about why Wilderness was so good back in the day at 0 gold. A big part of it was Kale, because Kale was an easy
exactly.
4-2 weapon that you could willy and get insane value out
That's
of
what
it,
I'm
because
saying.
even at because even at 2 base, you would get a 100% damage increase for Wilderness alone.
But
And
I
Kale
agree.
higher.
But Slime Toes isn't that far off, like, in that similar kind of deck. But Wilderness was good on its own because it was 2 damage. Like, I feel like that plays a big part as to why it fit that aggro deck. Test of Might does not go into that aggro deck. You need a weapon to make Test of Might actually worth playing. You can't just play it for the, like, with nothing. Like, it's not, like, straight up good without, like Wilderness was in an aggro deck without. So I think that's fine. Like, that was my thing.
I agree.
The only proposal maybe I'd have for this card is if the battle started with your opponent hitting you first. Maybe that'd be a way of changing it.
I quite like that as a change.
But
I don't think the
That's
card needs change at
interesting.
all. I think it's fine.
Yeah,
See,
I
I
think,
think
so too.
it's
I think
fine
that's
at the
still a
minute.
cool idea.
I think it's fine at the minute, 100%. I don't think there's a single problem with it. But if other cards enable 0 costs battles again, like,
Yeah,
it's
it
gonna
limits
be the other
space.
card's problem. But this is gonna turn really overpowered if things get the exhausts not put on them at the start and stuff like that. Like, if they introduce new cards which just straight up make this card amazing, then everyone's going to look at this card and go, it's broken, but it's not. It's been enabled yet again, as it used to be. So that's what I think on this, and it's good to hear you guys' opinions on it as well.
I think the biggest point is that it fills a role. There were no 0 cost strikes, as Glenn puts them, in the game left, and I think the game has room for one that is, like, you know, just a battle, has nothing extra written on it. I think that, and I think that's a good thing.
And I think that the chat's got it slightly wrong as well. Like, Glenn's not saying it's a strike card in that you don't care about the damage back, because if you're playing Weaponlinder and you take a Goblin Flash Mob, a Mimic, and then you start taking hits back off them, all of a sudden you're in a very low, you're very close to dying, and that's the only way you
Glenn
lose
means,
that.
like, say you're playing old Hope, well, the new Hope Zan, and you pick up a Skelly Champion weapon and then hit them for 6, plus your base attack, and then that kills them and they don't end up hitting you back. That's what Glenn means.
To be honest, I am talking about it as a strike in Weaponlinder. Like, the whole idea of it is you would.
Yeah, but that's the same principle.
You would chain it along with a Revenant Orc or a
Yeah, but you do care about the damage back.
But, like, it's
Like,
you
that's-
finish
No,
them
no,
off,
no,
right?
you-
Yeah,
no,
killing
it is a
them.
finisher.
finishing off
It is a
card.
finisher,
It's a
yeah.
finish card, so you
But
wouldn't
in
have
that
it.
situation, you're much rather going to play Wilderness or Pulverize, because they just do more damage. Like,
Yeah, but this costs
no,
0,
at that
which is
point with
the
Weapon
point,
the
Glenn.
extra 2 damage doesn't really matter.
But it
doing
might.
that much damage.
It might.
Yeah,
Anyway.
it might. And you'll always play Wilderness if you can. But the point,
Exactly.
the point Glenn's making is that this doesn't cost anything. Like,
It's a
that's the
good
big-
card. I don't think it's broken. I think it's very good. It's
And I
probably the
agree.
best
And
that's
I
been
think we've
introduced. And
adequately covered
yeah,
all
we've
of these,
covered
right?
this now.
Yep.
So we have some game changes that have been put in today, actually. And
Yeah. It's a
we're going to
nice
start
surprise.
off with the bottom tray, as I've named it. I didn't really have a name for this.
Please don't talk about your bottom tray.
So this is pretty good. I like it. It's a
You have
good.
every
Oh,
card,
you got
Ryan?
rid of mine?
I have every card, yeah. I bet you.
Okay, so
Carry on.
mine is
Pays
cut off at
weird.
the bottom. I have like it doesn't show all of that for me. Like I can't really have a great way to show you it, but like the very bottom, you know where it says total level, right? Like the bit below it is cut off, so only half the word total level is
Wow.
displayed, and there's and that's for the entire UI function. Like the
I
entire
bet it
thing-
looks really bad on yours then.
Yeah, it looks awful. I don't know if that's necessary. Like, it's not my resolution. I'm running a 1080p, like 1920 by 1080. Like that's a standard resolution. The monitor functions perfectly with every other game, and it doesn't cut anything else off in any other application. Like I'm looking at I can
Weird.
see my start bar just fine. Like, so it doesn't work for me. It doesn't fit the whole screen. It doesn't fit properly.
I have the same as Ryan.
Yeah, I've got the
Just-
same as Ryan.
I'm
But-
13 out of 1. So.
But this isn't the point, right? Like, whether or not it like fits, and whether or not that 13.7, which I think
13
is
over
supposed to be-
7. It's roughly 2. My total level is roughly 2.
But like that's supposed to be 137. Like obviously we know that, and yes, it's a bug. Yes, they'll fix it, but that's not the point. Like,
No.
the thing we ought to
I
talk about
really, really
is-
like
is
this.
good addition to the game. And go ahead,
It's,
Ryan.
it's just another great bit of information I get to show off my total cards.
Oh.
Hashtag
It's really
pay to
nice
win
to
life,
see-
boys.
Daily
I
quests
wanted
as
to go
well.
off my total wins.
Yeah, well, Glenn, you have no life, so.
No, to be fair, it was a nice little surprise thing. I think it needs a little tidying up maybe. It just seemed like it just planted there on top and it doesn't kind of fit in with anything.
Well, they could shift the book up a bit, right? There's a lot of space
Yeah.
at the top in between where it displays
I
your
agree.
gold and your ingots and
The other
one
thing as
channel
well,
live and the Reddit button.
yeah.
But they could shift that up and then shift but there is kind of like some empty space to fill, and
Yeah.
I think the main menu is where a UI feature like this ought to go.
Yeah, the other thing as well that it appears before the book's opened, so it looks a bit odd when you first log in.
Wow,
That's
the
the
book!
song.
It's just told me all my stats. Oh, there's the book. That's what game we're playing. Okay, then. That is a bit weird, but they're just things I guess get
Why do you have
oversaw.
every card though, Ryan?
Try
Because
that.
why
Did you
not?
craft them all?
When we were at Insomnia, I had 12 cards left that I needed 2 copies of, and I just spammed Dungeoneering while we were there. Had a good bit of fun with it.
Then crafted.
Had a
This
double
is
vampire.
why they put it in
card.
for suckers like you who look at their total cards and go, "Oh, it's not 300."
Hey, I'm a perfectionist.
Let me go and craft the remaining
I'm a
ones that I don't
perfectionist.
have. Right, like that's what they want you to do.
One
They want
day,
you to go
Dragon
craft
Egg will be a
cards
good
that you don't
card.
have.
Yeah.
One day.
Craft
Two
cards
Dragon
are
Eggs.
horrible waste of shards, right? It's really poor value, like compared to actually opening map packs.
Yeah,
This
listen
is
to Daddy
exactly what
Jackson.
Jagex want you to do.
Listen to Daddy Jackson, right?
At this point, though, like I really don't care if they bring out another set with load of good cards. I'm going to spend money anyway, to be quite frank, because I want to support this game. So yeah, like having all the cards is just a thing. I'm a very completionist kind of guy.
Yep.
I used to play
capitalising
Xbox achievements and
suckers
want
like you.
100% on them and everything. So yeah, it hurt me having 398, so I had to craft 2 Dragon Eggs.
Ooh,
Dragon Egg
that
and
hurts.
Calfight
I have
Marauder
zero
were my
Dragon
last
Eggs, and
2.
I'll not craft it until a dragon is printed that I actually want to draw out of the
Dragon Egg will be a good card one day.
Yeah, it will. It will. And so will Zamaraki and Accruder.
No, I'm gonna
And the
throw out
sun
there,
will be
Dragon Egg
blue.
will never be a good card.
Yeah, I don't think it will either, genuinely, but you know.
Imagine getting your Dragon Egg Archmage Cedridord.
Imagine
Right.
getting your Alpha Egg Archmage Cedridor.
Ooh.
Imagine getting your Dragon Egg boosted.
Oh!
Hang on, Dragon Egg's a support. How are you even going to boost it?
Okay,
It
alright.
shows how much everyone has that card. No one
Yeah,
fucking
yeah.
knows what it is. The
Well,
worst that could happen is it just gets Brugsund, and you have to pay 5 gold to draw a dragon.
to draw your KBD.
KBD best card. Anyway, that covers the tray basically. I like the
There's one
daily
more.
quests as well.
Yeah, I like that. Like, you know immediately how many you have to do, and then it might encourage you to actually do them if you're perhaps a casual player. Like, I think the next thing that follows on from this is the new DLCs, totally downloadable added content that is going into, but...
Yeah,
Yeah,
that is
as
on the
much as I'm
screen now.
joking
You
about-
can see the 3 packs. You get Foundation, Epic, and Legendary.
Watch out, we're gonna get copyright strikes.
From Hearthstone. Feels bad.
So, yeah, then Glenn might and the rest of us will be
Wow.
don't want our art rights
Wow.
revoked. That'd be-
Anyway.
but yeah, so these well, as much as I joke about them being DLC, because they're not DLC, they're just offers giving you packs, shards, and platinum. But that's okay. Like I don't like I don't mind that. And like it being DLC makes it like a one-time purchase that you can make. Everyone can make, and also all of those people who play on the ordinary client, which is a lot. Most of the players use the ordinary client. That gives them incentive to go and download Steam to get these offers, and then you have it in your Steam library. And then if you forget about Chronicle and one day you're looking through it, you're Chronicle, I'll check that out. You have it on Steam. It's another good thing for Jagex to put in, and the offers themselves are actually very good value. I worked this out exactly, and I'll be able to talk about that. But what do you guys think of these DLCs?
I will be picking up the big one eventually. Like, I have no need for the packs, the plat, the shards. As you've seen, none of that means fuck all to me. The thing I will get is the Dragon Scale back, because it's so nice. Jesus, that Dragon Scale card back that Merchant was using in his most recent video, so nice. Big fan.
It's not better than... I think Bak Choy is way better though.
I think I'll get
For those that
back.
don't know, the viewers that don't understand the inside joke, Bak Choy... Okay, so there's this joke about me and a vegetable called Bak Choy. Yeah, it's like a lettuce, kind of. It's a vegetable, right? But the card back is a leaf, and we called it Bak Choy.
Yeah.
Bak Choy.
But, and that's my favorite, and I like that card back because I actually do think it is the nicest looking one, but also it's the very first card back. It's like a status symbol. It's like, hey, I was playing the game back when this first card back ever came out, and that's also why on Hearthstone I only use the original card back, because I really like that the original Hearthstone card back as well, but also it was the first one they ever made, so I like to use it for that reason, kind of like the Pioneer card back, but and that's why I'll never have any interest at all ever in other card backs, really, to be honest, unless they have some sort of status symbol that goes with them.
Well, I guess you did the maths.
But they do look cool, but I don't care.
You did the maths interjection.
I'll get the big packs, definitely. And I'll most likely open the 50 packs on my 300 follower thing, Streamy. And that seems like a good value, right?
Yeah, go. Interjection has done the maths.
Yeah, I have done the maths
Let's
exactly.
break it down. So, if I was to buy the legendary pack, you can see on screen. I don't know if you can.
Okay,
don't
so
know about resolution.
the 29.99 GBP pack, so we'll call that the tier 1 pack because it's the best one. I don't know what that is in other currencies, but in GBP, it costs £30. You get 50 booster packs, right? So 50 booster packs is equal to 2,800 ingots, which is about 20 quid, right? That's 19.6 pounds, right? So you get that in terms of the boosters. You get 2,500 ingots as well, which is about 17.5 pounds. And you get 20, and the shards you get, right? If we say the 108 shards is equal to a pack's worth of shards, because that's what my pack simulator tells me, and that's if you have, obviously, all the cards there is. But if you don't have all the cards there is, that's good, because the shards you've got, you can actually craft cards that you don't have, so in a way it's better as well. But anyway, the shards on face value are worth about £7 as well. So what in total, that's the pack, the deal costs £30, but you get about £46 worth of value out of it. So that's quite a lot, right?
That's without the card backs.
That's without the card backs. If you count the card backs, let's say the card backs are, other card backs in the game are valued at about 500 ingots. And let's say that these are 500 ingots, right? Then you get 2 card backs, so that's 1,000 ingots. That's about £7 more. So if you want to count those as well, this is off the charts in terms of value. This is really,
it's almost
really
half price.
Yeah,
yeah, exactly. So if you want to buy, if you want to invest in the game, this is flat out the best thing to buy, right? This is very, very good value. Just for anyone who missed it, right? It costs 30 GBP. And you get about 46 GBP in terms of value, and you can convert that over to your own currency, I guess.
Yep.
It's about 1.5 times as good.
Yeah, it's between 46, depending on your attitude towards card backs. I actually enjoyed them, so I'd get them for the card back. Interjection, on the other hand, obviously won't. So he'd get £46 worth. I would get 53-ish pounds worth. So I don't know. I think the value on that top one is incredible.
I might buy it just for the ingots.
In terms of getting players on board, that's going to be...
It's a brilliant thing to encourage new players.
You feel invested for the cheap price. You're going to buy more platinum when you get addicted to opening packs because it happens. Everyone knows it happens. I've got 4 packs sat there and it's taken every ounce of strength for me not to open them. I don't need to open them, I just want to. But yeah, like pack addiction is a thing. So when you open the packs from this, you'll buy more with the platinum you get. Then you're going to buy more again. So like, as a business point of view, it's actually really, really good. But yeah, the £15 Epic pack worked out to roughly how much Interjection?
The £15 pack is worth about £20.40, and then you can add another £2.80 if you actually care about the Epic card back. So that's about 1.36 times as good as buying the maximum deal, you know, the £52 deal for the maximum number of shards. So it's about 30% better, kind of, in a way. The final one that costs 6.9 GBP is worth about £9.22. So it's not as good. And that's very similar value to the sort of Epic pack. Actually, the £7 one and the £15 one are actually very, very similar in terms of the amount of value you get. So really, there, if you want to pick up one of them, the most expensive one is definitely the best one to pick up. But that's what Jagex wants to think. So bear that in mind as well.
But yeah, Game Violinist said earlier that he's bought all 3. Anthony, I know, bought the first one. So, like, these are already flying off the shelf to even the people that have been around for a long time. Like, they're really good value. I know I'll be picking them up when I can actually afford them.
The one thing here as well, Jagex are going to, as a whole company, are going to be looking at like how they look at it. Like, people are talking about if the money goes straight to Jagex or through Chronicle. They're gonna know where the money comes from through which games. So the better the Chronicle does. So the more people that buy these, the more the bigger the Chronicle's gonna grow.
Yeah, the more money Chronicle makes, the more likely they are to employ more people to make Chronicle. The more money they are to likely spend on advertising, the more money they are to likely make Chronicle bigger. So, like I think just saying the money goes to Jagex and it doesn't help Chronicle is not really a very interesting thing to say. But that's not the point, right? These are good value for the consumer. Yep. And that's all there really is to say about them, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Buy these packs. Let's make Chronicle great again.
Love it. And Glenn, you wanted to reveal some spoilers that we got of Merchant last night in our Discord when we were talking.
Merchant made a surprise guest appearance in our Discord the other night. Had a good long chat with us.
Indeed.
And he specifically mentioned some details about the campaign mode, which apparently is going to be in by the end of September, which is a nice surprise. It's going to be around about 12 levels to start off with the initial introduction. The plan at the moment is for the first batch to be free. And then afterwards, future campaigns will be purchasable with Platinum. Although all of this is subject to change. He did say it's not 100% confirmed yet, so this is literally very off the press. And for example, he did give us his on the campaign mode is, you know, the big legends in the background? They've been designing new ones. So not just the legends that we know and love or hate. So for the one example he brought up last night was Drunken Pirate. They've actually created a large Drunken Pirate.
Oh, so they're going to model you and put it in the background.
Oh,
that's pretty cool.
No, he said Drunken Pirate, not Wise Old Man.
So we're going to be fighting against different characters, the other side of the table. They're going to have cards that you can't get in the game. So they're going to have interesting cards. Cool. And also they're going to have interesting effects. The one that he mentioned last night is Drunken Pirate. In particular, at the end of every chapter, will remove all of your gold. So Redbeard Frank's back, boys.
And he's back with a vengeance. But yeah, I think this could be really good. I hope they're really fairly priced, because obviously there's a fair few people that are are free to play. It might also encourage the people who are free to play some tournaments where packs and plat are actually rewarded quite a lot. So
Wink, wink, wink.
yeah, exactly. You can get involved with that, and yeah, it's going to be pretty fun. I'm excited. Like, for me, the game's it's not stale per se, but doing the same thing on ranked and stuff is getting a bit old. So I can't wait for some new content. Even if it lasts me about a day, because I'll finish it. But it's going to be good. I'm looking forward to it. And obviously, that's all subject to change that you said there. So
Yeah. Oh, and yeah. So if you want early access to all of this information that we're getting, then join us in our Discord.
I've posted the link up a bit, so you can scroll and get it. But yeah, if people are wondering, like, it's different to the original place where we would hang out. So go
I
and
have
join
nothing
up.
to do with this Discord, by the way. I genuinely don't. I'll join it. I'll come and talk to you guys because
Ugh.
I love talking to people.
Yeah. Anyway, I believe that wraps up pretty much everything that we had to talk about today. So we're going to move on to
What? We're not doing the pseudo dung section.
we're not.
No, not this week.
All right.
I've already got Dungeoneering going, and I'm not retiring that. But yeah, so basically, it's what we're going to call final thoughts. It's been known as Q&A in the past. Wow, interjection. Yeah, it's been called Q&A in the past. So if you've got any questions for us, we can ask. You can ask them. We'll answer them. But basically, this is just where we wind down a bit. This is yeah. So one question I have for the chat is: did you like the new art? I know me and Glenn aren't artists, but we did our best, and I think we did quite well. In particular, love the new logo.
Yes.
But that may or may
Looks
not be
very
because I made it.
So my opinion on this is that I never noticed the art anyway. To be honest, like I think like when art is good, I do, and someone says, "Oh, what do you think?" I'm like, "Oh, actually, that does look pretty good." But like this is a podcast, right? Like that's what it is. That's what the feature. No one's coming here to look at the art. Like that's I guess my.
There we go. I'll
It's
put the
legally
logo on the screen.
different.
It's legally different, and at least your rights will never be revoked. So that's
Yeah,
good.
exactly. Yeah, the original Asking to Find Out as a 10GP had to go. I wanted a proper background. Yeah.
I'm not putting my geography teacher glasses on.
There's a good question from RyanN, which I want to talk about as well. Are you guys upgrading the community tier list anytime soon? Now, Interjection, you've been very busy.
All right, if Ryan's gonna say yeah, we're going to,
No,
then
I'm going
I'll
to.
be totally on board, and I'll get on with it and help him with it. But like that thing was my baby for the longest period of time. Like that thing, I spent so many hours on trying to get people together to come and do it with me. Exalx did start it all, but I kind of took it from him, and now Exalx isn't really here anymore and isn't really doing very much. But you know, he's busy with his job and stuff. That thing was like my passion project for ages, and I was very looking forward to updating it. I had every intention of updating it, but there was always more pressing things to do, like making videos on new cards or something. And now that I have a job as well, it seems unlikely that I'll ever be able to do that properly. I'd like to help out with people though. If someone,
I'm more than happy to take that on again because
I don't want to give it to anyone unless they are like capable of doing it. Ryan, I think you are, but like if you're just the average Joe on the street, like you need to know what you're talking about to like take that on. But I really would like to pick up from where we left off on that. That was one of my, like, I'm very, very proud of that list, and I really like to resume doing it.
Yeah. So yeah, I will definitely be working on it, and I'll be looking for people to help out as well. Like, everyone's opinions are valid because sometimes you just don't think of everything. We know from doing the original fucking tier list, it was just like, so, is everyone happy with this card going here? And it was just like, wait a second, this combos with that, and that, and this card's actually that much better now. And you're like, for crying out loud, like we had it set. Stop.
Interjection talks about that just like it's a child. Yeah, because it took so much time and effort, like hundreds of hours went into that. And every single card, the position, as Ryan just mentioned, we'd like have an argument about basically, and then you'd find. Like, I actually learned just so much about Dungeoneering just by, like, comparing cards to each other and going, well, hold on a moment, if we think this is good, then there's no reason why this isn't good. And then, like, someone would come up and say, well, that's not true because of this, that, and the other. And, like, you'd have...
really useful.
So, like, I don't think people realize how intricately connected all of the evaluations were. Like, one card would move and we'd think, well, all these have to move now. But, like, every card is basically compared in relation to every other card. So much work into that to make sure it was, like, spot on and correct. And when we released it, it was, I think, a very accurate reflection of what the top level players and what was actually good at the time. Now that everything's changed and maybe, like, I don't think it's very accurate anymore, obviously, because Haunted Soul's still up there as a top card, but Haunted Soul definitely. But, like, just, it's so much work. And, like, the person who takes it on has to understand that and has to appreciate, like, how much work went into it and has to continue how it was done. Because it's not just like, oh, I think this card goes here. Oh, I think that card goes there. Like, every card you move, you have to think about in relation to every other card. And that's why it took so long. And that's why we had so many people working on it.
Mm-hmm. So, I think that everyone's having a bit of a discussion regarding the early information we may or may not have had.
I was just going to type something, but I'll say it.
It's early,
we
man.
don't know.
No.
We don't know what the campaign rewards are. I think Sula Rossetti was talking about that. So we don't know if there's any rewards that are going to be available in campaign that aren't available anywhere else.
Do you genuinely don't know, or is it like,
no, we genuinely don't know.
document that says that, oh, we don't know, but actually we do know.
There's no NDA bullshit or anything. I genuinely don't know.
No, we don't know anything about it. And to be honest, they may even make it so you can pay with in-game currency. But then Interjection's got them all because he's got millions of copper coins coming out of every orifice.
Full disclosure, when me and Ryan went down to Jagex, we can say this now because it's been announced. We got told that campaign was coming very soon.
We knew basically what it was as well.
Yeah, we knew what it was, but even then, and even now, we still don't know what the rewards are for it.
No, we just knew there was going to be like different characters who give you basically different challenging scenarios. So yeah. Anyway.
Interesting single player.
Interesting single player. Indeed. So I guess
I think that's what Chronicle needs. Like, just single player in general is like something that, like, Chronicle's fun. Like, playing it against the PC, like, could be fun. Like, and a campaign mode, like, that sounds fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's cool.
I'm
like,
interested to
RTS
see
games
what's
are fun against the computer,
and
like, especially the campaign.
Merchant actually said on, I think it was Reddit, that chat is coming very soon as well. So once we have chat, that's when we can actually start. I don't care about chat. Like, I'm not going to use that of having to maybe abuse my opponent. Or friends, I guess. They have to be. But the point is, that means then spectator mode's coming. And that's what I'm actually excited for. So the clear chat out the way, get that gone, get solo adventures out the way, and then we can concentrate on the real stuff. Because I really want to stream more high-tier games.
Get the spectator mode, get the invitational going.
And then let's get some advertising going, because this game is good. It's actually a good game, believe it or not. But anyway,
Good, man.
I guess that's all we're really going to talk about today. I do want to give a massive, massive shout out to Xander, the Game of Violinist. He has dropped us a donation today, and we don't have anything set up for it because we're in the middle of changing everything.
Because we haven't made the art.
Are we splitting the donation by
But I'm a guest too.
Well, you can have 5%, mate. Basically, it's going to be
baby.
used for, hopefully, Chronicle-related stuff. So whether we need to get an artist in to do something or we're going to work on our site or stuff like that. This is all money. That's what the money's going to be going towards. And yeah, hopefully we're going to have a nice big... Hello, welcome to the donations! And yeah,
well, we can
future.
use the money to pay for Glenn's court fees.
Perfect. So...
that's a good note to end on.
Yeah. Thank you very much for joining us, Bundi. It was unfortunate we didn't get to see your glorious beard, but I guess next time.
Well,
it's probably gone the next time.
no problem, right? Like,
I'm honest.
if there's any room for one glorious beard on this podcast.
Yeah, Glenn is not having it anymore.
Nope, Glenn's lost.
I'm gonna shave.
Indeed. So yeah, I guess you don't get a thanks anymore, and nor do you, Glenn. So I guess me and Glenn will be here on Sunday, hopefully.
I don't join for that. No.
No. To do the Sunday roundup, we'll talk about the league and how it's ending and stuff like that.
On Sunday, alternatively, you can tune into twitch.tv/Age of Empires for the 48-hour rebroadcast of the ESOC Summer Championships of 2015.
That was a lot of words, a lot of which didn't mean much. So I guess that's where we're going to cut it tonight. thank you very much for joining us, guys. I know it's been short. We just really want to let you know we're back. Next week we're back with some more shenanigans, maybe some sort of dungeoneering run. Who knows? Anything can happen on the Friends of Al-Kharid podcast. But we will be here again. So, that's all from me.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, no, good to have you on again, Bundy. We'll see you next time.
Glen 04.
Bye.
Top banter.
Bye, denizens.